Hello, guys. Welcome to the second episode of the Narrative Experience podcast. I am your host, Mariam. Now, I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to get right into it because we left off at a critical point in the last episode. First, for those of you who are listening, if you haven't listened to the first episode, you should definitely do so because this is the second part of a three-part narration based on the Korean series One Ordinary Day. Before we get started, let's do a quick little recap, okay, just to refresh our brains on what is going on. Our boy Hyunsu, a typical boy next door, wakes up next to a dead body. Well, not next to, she was upstairs, he was downstairs, but still. She was covered in blood and stab wounds. And considering the nights before, where they did drugs, they had alcohol, and they played a stupid game called the knife game, based on all this, we can't totally say Yonsu is innocent because even he can't remember. But he's innocent. Don't worry, that's not a spoiler. His guilt or innocence, that's not the point of the story. Okay? We know he's innocent, but can he convince the system, the public, that he's innocent despite the overwhelming evidence against him? Well, maybe, maybe not. But time is running out. The detective in charge is 100% convinced he did it. And the public, well, they are outraged at the senseless killing of another young lady by another entitled male. The police requested for an arrest warrant and it was granted. So now Hyunsu has been transferred from the police cell to prison jail. And this is where we left off in the last episode. Let's get started. Do you guys remember Hyunsu's lawyer? Well, he's not what you'd visualize when you think of a lawyer. He's sloppily dressed and he always has this big brown, terribly worn out bag with matching brown sandals. Okay, at least they be matching. Also, he's a divorcee with a kid, but he's not taking care of the kid. His wife is. And kudos to her. Every month she be calling him like, the month has ended. Where's the money? But our lawyer is not financially stable. Okay, he's as unstable as my country's economy. All downs, no ups. Now, despite the fact that he gets no clients, he doesn't wait for them to come to him. He goes around looking for clients, goes to the police station, just waiting around for someone to get in trouble and get their ass hauled into jail, or for him to whip out his card and be like, I'm a lawyer. I can save you. And this is how he came to represent Hyunsu. He saw him in the cell and decided to represent him. But Hyunsu's case is different from his other clients. His other clients are not necessarily innocent or they're not suspected of heinous crimes. They're usually in for crimes like jaywalking, violence, drunk driving, and they're not usually innocent. He just takes up cases that can pay the bills. As for Yonsu's case, he felt differently about it, and from the moment he met Yonsu's eyes, he knew he was innocent, and he wanted to get him off. He wanted to help him. And lawyer was trying his best. He was working harder than he usually does. After Yonsu's arrest warrant was approved, he really started to investigate. He went to check the crime scene. He went to the prosecutor's office to ask for the case file. He spent hours talking the victim's social media and his hard work paid off. He found something. When he was searching the victim's house, he found fentanyl, which is a narcotic. He found it in a drawer. And while he was going through our social media accounts, he found a picture of her in front of a rehabilitation center and he connected the dots. Okay. He went to the rehabilitation center to see the doctor. I don't know if they are called doctors, but he went there to see the person in charge. And he basically threatened him until he was able to get the list of drugs that the clinic had given the lady for the past 3 years. Now, lawyer was working so hard on Hyunsu's case, but the case was not meant to be easy. Now, as I said in the last episode, Hyunsu's case was all over the news, but it got worse because a lot of people's motives were locked in with Hyunsu's case. So it went in a crazy direction. I'll explain what I mean. The man we call leader, who is the head of the police, in charge of Hyunsu's case. He's preparing to retire after 30 years in the force, and Hyunsu's case is the last one he's going to handle. Now, while it is understandable that a man like Leader, with his years of experience, while it is understandable that he can sense certain things different from, say, a rookie police or just a civilian. However, his insistence on Hyunsu being the culprit and he just totally disregarded other possible suspects. And his distaste and hate for Hyunsu is so unprecedented. Now, when you factor in the fact that he has to lock down the case for his boss to recommend him for a position in a private law firm after retirement, everything kind of makes sense, okay? Now that's for Lida. The prosecutor in charge, she's hoping to get this case in front of the public so that she gets some sort of clouds. I don't know. And Hyunsu is just a victim in all of this because the prosecutor is not even willing to know whether Hyunsu is guilty or innocent. When she had a discussion with the officer with Leader, all she wanted to know is, are you sure you can lock this down? Okay, I don't care if he's guilty or innocent. Are you sure all the evidences you have against him, are you sure it's going to stick? That's all she wanted to know. And after Leader gave her the assurance, she held a press conference and basically said Hyunsu is likely a serial killer and this is probably not his first case. And because he's so dangerous, they have to release his details to the public. So now Hyunsu's face is splattered all over the news. His face, his identity, everything about him. There is a law firm, a big law firm, who saw Hyunsu's case in the news, and for some reason, the head of the law firm, the lawyer, she decided Hyunsu's case is a good case for them to take over for free. Maybe due to the exposure, or probably she was able to see through the lies of the prosecutor and the police. She could tell that these people don't have enough evidence to nail it. She probably thought this would be the right case for her to take on. So she decided to take on the case. She contacted Hyunsu's parents, and obviously, why would they refuse? A huge law firm is willing to take over their son's case for free. So obviously, they had to tell Hyunsu's former lawyer, they had to tell him to, yeah, they had to tell him bye bye. And he was really working hard for this case. It was sad, but it wasn't like too salty about it. The evidence he had gathered, mostly the list he got from the rehabilitation center doctor, he gave it to his new lawyers, just told them to look it over. Now, Hyunsu is finally in jail after the judge approved his arrest warrant. They didn't even waste time. It was late in the evening, but they didn't even wait till the next morning. They were like, dude, move your ass. You're not sleeping here tonight. So they moved him to prison. His prison cell is it has a bunk bed and a single bed. So Hyunsu is staying in the upper bunk bed. The lower bunk bed is occupied by is also a young man like Hyunsu's age, but you could tell that he's not all there. Now it's hard to tell if he has always been like that, even before he came to the prison, or people in prison messed him up so bad that he lost all rationality. The man on the single bed is older than Hyunsu. He's much older. He's the kind of person that would just tell you, don't do this, don't talk to that person, but he's not really gonna protect you. The night Hyunsu entered the prison, he lost his mind. He couldn't sleep. He could not sleep that night in jail. He really thought that since he was innocent, everything was going to be settled. He thought, oh, they will find out I'm not the one. They will find out I'm innocent and I will be out of here in no time. He really thought that. I know that this contradicts with what he did initially after finding the girl dead, running away, getting rid of evidence. It shows a certain distrust of the system, of the police. But after he got caught, he really thought that everything was going to be fine. Like, okay, they're still going to find out I'm not the one. There's no way I'm going to go down for something I did not do. but now is in prison and everything starts to really seem real. His time in jail was not a walk in the park. He got stares from people, which was weird, I have to tell you. Like, prisoners were taunting him because he committed sexual assault and murder, which I'm sorry, but what are you guys in for? They're also in for violent crimes. But for some reason, they feel like they're better than him. Probably because of the sexual assault parts of his charges, but I don't know. People in prison are weird. They were taunting him for that, and then he was getting bullied by a certain group. They usually beat him until he was bloody and had bones broken. They burnt him with cigarettes. And even at the time, they wrapped the noose around his neck and choked him until he fainted. Struggle, but it's all ocean floor. That describes the situation right now. That describes his feeling and emotion as he goes through all this. Now you remember that old lawyer had provided new lawyer with documents that he had gotten. Apparently, those documents are very important because the new lawyer was able to secure a plea bargain from the prosecutor after she handed over the documents. She was able to get 10 years if he admitted to the charges of murder, and they will cancel out charges of sexual assault. Hyun Soo really thought about this, and honestly, I don't know what the right answer should be. He called old lawyer to get his input, and what old lawyer told him was sincerely think about the question, did I really kill her? And then you come to a conclusion on what to do. I'm not sure if that's a really good advice. If someone had come to me with that kind of question, I don't think I would be able to say anything because at the end of the day, it's your choice to make. Every choice is going to have repercussion. Asking someone to choose between admitting to a crime they did not commit, getting 10 years, and you have to live with the fact that you admitted that you're a murderer. And when you get out, you cannot say otherwise. Or decide not to take the deal, and you have to deal with the fact that you could end up getting the maximum sentence, which could be life sentence or death sentence. And then, who would you even convince that you're innocent? So both ways, I don't think he wins in any way. So he has to make the choice on his own. Hyunsu, after telling his lawyer that he was going to take the plea bargain, his lawyer arranged a court session. So they went to court. They told the judge, our client has something to say, and we hope the prosecutor will listen, stuff like that. So Hyunsu went on stand. So they just had to ask him, do you admit your crimes? Do you admit your crimes? Did you kill her? And Hyunsu is supposed to say yes. Then the prosecutor will be like, well, since that you're remorseful, we ask for 10 years. And then the judge will like accept or whatever. But Hyunsu, well, he changed things up real quick. He said, no, I did not kill her. And then the session ended. But it made two people angry. His lawyer was so mad, which I don't really understand. She said, why would you do that? I don't want to take on your case anymore, which is crazy because she was the one who saw his case and thought it would be good for her and affirm. And now, just because the client is not listening to her, is not willing to take a plea bargain, she's now all like, I can't represent you anymore. And then the prosecutor is mad because she was thinking this case is supposed to be my breakthrough. But then I decided to throw it all away by just giving you 10 years. And now you throw that at my face. I'll make sure you get the maximum sentence. I'll make sure I ask for death sentence. Like the prosecutor be salty about that and decide to ask for a death sentence. That is crazy to me. Like you're supposed to uphold the law and make sure the wrong person doesn't go to jail and the right person goes to jail. But she's basing our argument on that. Hyunsu's new lawyer has handed things over to a junior lawyer. She doesn't want to just throw the case away since it has been publicized that her firm is handling the case. So she decided to pawn it off to a junior prosecutor who accepted it. And because she has met with Hyunsu's old lawyer and understands how much he cares about Hyunsu and wants to really help, she decided to propose a joint work where they can collaborate and do this together. Now, Hyunsu's first day of trial, this is where finally things are getting down. We're gonna see everything the prosecutor has and how the lawyer can counteract against it. The lawyer has been shouting that she has 117 evidences against Yeonsu, which I think is crazy. Really? 117? But for some reason, she just keeps throwing that word around. Okay, guys, we're gonna stop here for this episode. All we have left is the court trial. We're gonna have the prosecutor's evidences, the lawyer's defense, and can Hyunsu really get out when the system? Okay, it's terrible for me to say the system. When the prosecutor, the police are against him, the public is against him. I believe that the only way for him to escape this nightmare he's in is for his lawyer to provide the actual murderer. And is that possible? I don't know. Stick with me, guys. I hope you're really enjoying this narration and this podcast. If you are, let me know. If you aren't, let me know. And if there are other Korean series you would like me to narrate, I'd like to know that as well. Have a nice day. Enjoy your day, guys. Bye.